Money does not reward effort. It never has, it rewards outcomes. The world pretends otherwise because the truth is cruel to those who need comfort more than results. Hard work is a moral story told to keep the obedient calm, while the decisive quietly collect the rewards. In every era, power has followed the same rule. Those who produce measurable results command those who merely endure. The phrase, "I work harder than anyone," is not a strategy. It is a confession. It reveals that the speaker has nothing else to leverage. Hours are the currency of the powerless. When all you can offer is time, you are negotiating from the weakest position imaginable. Kings never counted hours. They counted territories, influence, and control. Time was simply the cost of acquiring them. Status follows the same law. Society claims status comes from virtue, intelligence, or good intentions. In reality, status is granted to those who create disproportionate value. People listen to the one who moves outcomes, not the one who suffers the most while trying. Pain does not impress the market. Results do. This is why so many intelligent, driven people remain stuck. They mistake exhaustion for progress. They confuse motion with advancement. They worship effort because it allows them to feel noble while avoiding the more dangerous task of redesigning how value is created. It is safer to work harder than to admit you are working on the wrong battlefield with the wrong weapons. Money is not emotional. It is mathematical. It flows toward leverage, towards systems that multiply effort instead of consuming it, toward individuals who understand that the goal is not to do more, but to get more done per unit of time, attention, and risk. The marketplace does not care how badly you want it. It only cares about what you can produce and how reliably you can reproduce it. This truth creates discomfort because it removes excuses. If wealth were about effort alone, anyone could claim moral entitlement to it. But wealth is about control over resources, people, systems, and timing. Those who possess leverage dictate terms. Those who do not accept them. And this is the first lesson you must swallow without protest. If you want money and the status that follows it, you must abandon the romance of hard work. You must stop measuring yourself by hours, stress, and sacrifice. These are not badges of honor. They are symptoms of inefficiency. Power belongs to those who understand the game being played and are willing to play it as it is, not as they wish it to be. Redefining work. Stop displaying hours. Display spoils. In every hierarchy, the weak advertise effort. The strong display results. This distinction is not semantic, it is structural. When someone boasts about how many hours they work, what they are truly signaling is scarcity. They are telling you that time is the only resource they control. In power dynamics, this is a losing admission. Work is not time spent. Time is neutral. A man can waste 16 hours a day and produce nothing of consequence. Another can alter the direction of an entire enterprise in a single decision. If time were the measure of work, prisoners would be the wealthiest class on earth. They have nothing but time. The modern world hides behind comforting definitions. Effort, grit, and hustle are praised because they are easy to claim and impossible to disprove. Outputs, however, are ruthless. They expose competence immediately. Either something moved because of you or it did not. Either value was created or it was not. There is no moral appeal that can override this verdict. Work must therefore be defined by outcomes, specifically by outputs that can be measured, transferred, and repeated, revenue generated, assets acquired, influence expanded, systems built. These are the spoils of real work. They are what endure when the noise of daily activity fades. Once work is defined by output, an uncomfortable hierarchy emerges. Two people can exert identical effort and receive radically different rewards. This is not injustice. It is leverage revealing itself. Output is not a function of strain. It is a function of position. The man who pulls the lever moves the stone. The man who pushes with his hands exhausts himself. This is why obsession with hours is fatal. Time is capped. There are only 24 units in a day, and every person receives the same allotment. Competing on hours means competing in a closed system with diminishing returns. It guarantees mediocrity. Competing on output opens an uncapped game where the same hour can yield 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the result. Understand this clearly. The world pays in proportion to impact, not sacrifice. Sacrifice is invisible. Impact is undeniable. The marketplace remembers who changed the score, not who stayed late. This is also why the most dangerous illusion is the belief that trying harder will save you. It rarely does. When results stall, increasing effort often deepens the trap. You become more invested in a failing approach and less willing to abandon it. Pride binds you to inefficiency. The disciplined mind does the opposite. When output lags, it questions the method, not the man. It asks where leverage is missing, where force is being applied without advantage, where energy is leaking instead of compounding. This is not laziness. It is strategic cruelty toward waste. So abandon the habit of counting hours. Hours are irrelevant trophies. Measure yourself by what moved because you acted. Measure your days by spoils, not sweat. In the economy of power, the scoreboard is the only narrative that survives. Rule 1: to rise above others, do not do more. Secure greater leverage. Once work is stripped down to output, the next truth reveals itself with brutal clarity. Not all actions are equal. Some moves shift mountains, others burn energy and leave nothing behind. The difference is leverage. And leverage is the quiet divider between those who rule outcomes and those who plead with them. Leverage is the distance between input and result. It is the multiplier that decides whether one action echoes or dies in isolation. Two men may perform the same task with the same intensity, yet one advances while the other stagnates. The reason is not character, it is position. Power always favors the one who stands where force compounds. Skill is leverage. A sharper blade cuts deeper with the same swing. A trained negotiator closes deals that brute persistence cannot. Systems are leverage. One process repeated 1,000 times outperforms 1,000 isolated efforts. Tools are leverage. A machine does not tire, does not complain, and does not forget. People are leverage. One capable mind properly directed can replace dozens of hands. The uninitiated believe leverage is unfair. They are correct and irrelevant. History is written by those who understand that fairness is not the rule of the world. Effectiveness is the battlefield, does not reward courage without strategy. Neither does the market. This is why competition based on effort alone is suicide. When you compete by working harder, you invite exhaustion. When you compete by working longer, you invite collapse. When you compete by leverage, you invite domination. The opponent may not even realize they are losing until the war is over. Observe the pattern of winners. They do not rush, they position. They ask a single question before acting. Will this scale beyond me? If the answer is no, the action is treated as temporary, not strategic. They reserve their deepest energy for moves that grow without them, that repeat without permission, that earn while they sleep, not because they are passive, but because they are properly constructed. This is also why envy is misdirected. People resent outcomes they do not understand. They see the reward, but not the architecture beneath it. They accuse luck to protect their ego from the harder realization. The game was lost before effort ever mattered. Leverage is learned, not gifted. But it demands an uncomfortable trade. You must abandon the satisfaction of visible struggle. You must accept that your best moves may look small, boring, or unimpressive. In the moment, leverage compounds quietly. It does not announce itself until it is irreversible. The final cruelty of leverage is this. Once understood, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You cannot unsee the waste of misdirected effort. You cannot return to worshipping exhaustion. You either redesign how value flows through you, or you accept your place beneath those who did. Power does not ask for permission. It accumulates where leverage is applied and abandons where it is ignored. Those who grasp this law stop trying to outwork the world. They learn to outposition it. Rule 2: novelty is a sweet poison. It keeps you poor. Nothing impoverishes ambition faster than novelty. New ideas feel like progress because they stimulate hope without demanding patience. They offer the illusion of momentum while quietly resetting you to the starting line. This is why those who chase the new remain forever busy and forever small. The pattern is predictable. A man hears of an opportunity producing wealth elsewhere. He sees the result, not the years of attrition beneath it. He feels inferior, restless, threatened. Instead of strengthening his position, he abandons it. What follows is not advancement, but amnesia. He forgets what he has already paid to learn and volunteers to pay again in a different costume. This is not exploration, it is avoidance. Each new venture delays the moment of confrontation with difficulty. The first stage is always euphoric. Ignorance creates optimism. Everything seems possible because nothing is yet understood, but clarity arrives with a cost. Once the hidden constraints appear, enthusiasm evaporates, the work becomes heavy. Progress slows. Meaning is questioned. This is where most retreat. They call it wisdom. They claim they are pivoting. In truth, they are running from the same lesson for the third, fourth, or 10th time. The battlefield changes. The enemy does not. The enemy is endurance. In games, failure is temporary. In life, failure compounds. Every reset costs time, trust, and momentum. While you restart, others remain. They endure boredom, criticism, and doubt until competence hardens into inevitability. By the time the drifter returns with another new idea, the fortress is already built. Novelty is seductive because it flatters the ego. It allows you to believe you are intelligent, adaptive, ahead of the curve. Focus does the opposite. Focus humiliates. It forces you to admit that progress will be slow, that mastery will take years, and that most days will offer no applause. This is why few choose it and why it works. Power does not come from variety. It comes from depth. From doing one thing long enough that escape is no longer necessary. From staying when leaving would feel justified. from extracting every ounce of leverage from a single direction until resistance collapses. Those who build empires understand this instinctively. They do not ask whether they are bored, they ask whether the system compounds. If time makes it stronger, they stay. If time reveals decay, they exit with precision, not impatience. The cruel irony is this: the opportunity you abandon out of frustration is often the one closest to dominance. Most ventures fail not because they are bad, but because they are unfinished. The builder leaves the structure at the moment it begins to resemble a burden rather than a dream. If you want power, you must learn to distrust excitement. It is rarely aligned with truth. Stability, repetition, and refinement look dull to the impatient. To the strategic mind, they are the markers of inevitability. Novelty keeps you moving. Focus makes you dangerous. Rule 3: focus is a luxury. The poor are afraid to buy. Focus is not a personality trait, it is a weapon, and like all weapons, it grants advantage only to those willing to endure its discipline. Most people praise focus in theory and sabotage it in practice, because true concentration demands sacrifice that the ego resists. To focus is to choose a single battlefield and burn the bridges behind you. It means refusing the comfort of optionality. As long as escape routes exist, commitment is cosmetic. Power is built by those who remove alternatives and force their energy through one narrow channel until pressure breaks resistance. The market does not reward intelligence spread thin. It rewards consistency applied without mercy. One average idea executed relentlessly will outperform 10 brilliant ideas pursued casually. This is not an opinion, it is an observable law of compounding. Momentum accumulates only when direction remains constant. Those who fear focus hide behind diversification. They claim prudence. In reality, they are hedging against discomfort. Diversification feels safe because it prevents total failure, but it also prevents total victory. Empires are not built with backup plans. They are built with obsession refined over time. Every serious operator eventually learns this truth. The enemy is not competition but distraction. Competing against someone doing many things is easy. They exhaust themselves juggling priorities while you deepen advantage. You do not need to outperform them everywhere. You need only outperform them where it matters. This is why focus accelerates learning. Repetition sharpens judgment, patterns emerge, errors shorten. What once required effort becomes instinct. Depth creates speed. The focused man appears gifted to the outsider because his movements are efficient, not because they are inspired. There is a cost. Focus will demand hard conversations. Projects must be killed. Partnerships dissolved. Revenue may temporarily decline. This is the toll of consolidation. The weak avoid it and remain fragmented. The strong pay at once and move forward unified. The greatest test of focus arrives not at the beginning but after early success. When small wins attract attention, new offers appear. Opportunities multiply. This is the moment many fall. They confuse validation with permission to expand. In reality, it is the signal to tighten further. Focus requires the ability to say no to attractive distractions, not just foolish ones. As your capacity grows, so will the quality of temptation. The discipline must scale with the opportunity. Otherwise, growth becomes the very force that dismantles you. In power dynamics, breadth impresses amateurs. Depth intimidates professionals. Choose depth. Choose to be underestimated while you consolidate strength. When the results finally surface, they will seem sudden. They are never sudden. They are the delayed consequence of unwavering concentration. Focus is not about doing less. It is about making everything serve one outcome. When all actions align, success stops being fragile. It becomes inevitable. Machiavellian learning. If behavior does not change, you learn nothing. Most people do not seek knowledge. They seek absolution. They attend workshops, read books, and consume advice not to transform their behavior, but to soothe their conscience. Learning becomes decoration, a signal of intelligence without the burden of execution. This is self-deception refined into a habit. True learning is ruthless. It is not measured by insight, emotion, or inspiration. It is measured by changed behavior under the same conditions. If the environment remains unchanged and your response remains identical, then nothing was learned. You merely witnessed information pass through your mind without leaving a mark. This is why most education fails. It flatters the intellect while sparing the will. People leave feeling smarter, not stronger. They confuse clarity with power. But clarity without action is harmless. The world is not moved by understanding. It is moved by decisions repeated until outcomes change. A Machiavellian understands this instinctively. He does not ask, "What did I learn?" He asks, "What will I do differently the next time this situation appears?" If the answer is nothing, the lesson is discarded as useless. Knowledge that does not alter behavior is not knowledge. It is entertainment. The greatest illusion is believing that intention counts. It does not. The market does not reward intent. Power does not respond to desire. Only action creates consequence. You may intend to follow up faster, refine your offer, train your team, or eliminate waste. Until the action occurs, your intention has the same value as silence. This is why repetition is essential. Behavior changes rarely occur through revelation. They occur through exposure. The same challenge must be faced again and again until the correct response becomes automatic. Discipline is not born from motivation. It is forged through enforced consistency. Those who fail to learn blame circumstances. They say the timing was wrong, the market unfair, the conditions imperfect. This is cowardice disguised as analysis. The disciplined accept that conditions are never ideal, and that mastery is demonstrated precisely when circumstances resist you. There is also a deeper cruelty in learning properly. Once you know what must be done, ignorance can no longer protect you. Excuses lose credibility. Delay becomes deliberate. You are forced to confront whether you prefer comfort or progress. Most choose comfort and call it balance. The Machiavellian chooses differently. He treats every repeated mistake as an insult to his intelligence. He refuses to lose the same battle twice. When he encounters a familiar obstacle, his behavior shifts immediately, even if the shift feels unnatural or uncomfortable. Especially then, this is the dividing line between those who accumulate power and those who orbit it. The former adapt, the latter explain. One changes behavior, the other collects reasons. If you wish to rise, adopt this rule without exception. If your actions do not change, you did not learn. Anything else is self-therapy masquerading as strategy. 5 blades that sever leverage. The sins that keep you poor. Leverage is fragile. It is not lost through catastrophe, but through small repeated acts of self-sabotage disguised as intelligence. Those who remain poor rarely lack opportunity. They lack discipline. And discipline is most often destroyed by 5 recurring sins. The first blade is uninformed optimism. This is the arrogance of ignorance. The belief that because something sounds profitable, it will be. The novice sees outcomes without understanding the machinery beneath them. He mistakes highlights for process and luck for design. Uninformed optimism feels empowering, but it is the most expensive emotion in business. It lures you into battles you are not equipped to win, then abandons you once reality demands endurance. The second blade is divided focus. Doing many things is praised as versatility. In truth, it is dilution. Energy scattered across multiple fronts produces no decisive force anywhere. Those who refuse to choose believe they are hedging risk. They are not. They are guaranteeing mediocrity. Focus is uncomfortable because it demands sacrifice. Distraction is comfortable because it delays accountability. The third blade is waiting for the winning horse. This is the fantasy of passive intelligence. The idea that success can be discovered rather than built. These people start several ventures and observe them from a distance, hoping one will succeed without commitment. They do not realize that focus is what creates the winner. Opportunity does not reveal itself first. It responds to pressure applied consistently over time. The fourth blade is abandonment at resistance. Every venture becomes difficult before it becomes profitable. This is not a warning sign. It is a tollgate. Those who quit when friction appears never reach leverage, because leverage is earned on the other side of resistance. Quitting early feels rational. It is celebrated as knowing when to pivot. Most of the time it is simply fear dressed in strategy. The fifth blade is temptation. The woman in the red dress. This is the most dangerous sin because it evolves as you grow. Early temptations are obvious and easy to refuse. Later ones are sophisticated, profitable, and flattering. They appear aligned with your goals. They promise expansion without sacrifice. Accept them, and leverage collapses silently. Attention fragments, system strain, focus erodes. The downfall does not come from failure, but from success poorly defended. Each of these sins shares a common root: the refusal to endure discomfort long enough for compounding to occur. Leverage does not emerge quickly. It requires patience, repetition, and restraint. Those unwilling to pay this price will always be outpaced by those who do. Power is not taken by brilliance alone. It is preserved by discipline. Remove these 5 blades from your habits and leverage begins to accumulate naturally. Ignore them and no amount of effort will save you. Poverty is rarely accidental. It is chosen slowly, repeatedly, and rationalized at every step. The lesson of the red dress: power belongs to those who can refuse. Strength is not the absence of desire. That illusion belongs to monks and liars. Real power lies in restraint, in the ability to feel temptation fully and deny it without hesitation. Those who rise are not purer than others. They are more disciplined. The woman in the red dress is not a moral test. She is a strategic one. She represents every opportunity that promises reward without alignment. Early in your ascent, her disguises are crude: small money, easy wins, shallow validation. Refusing her then is simple. Later she evolves. She arrives with prestige, scale, and the language of growth. She offers you 10 when you are already making 10. This is where most fall. Desire does not disappear as power increases. It intensifies. The opportunities become smarter. The stakes grow higher. The ego is fed more generously. To assume you will become immune is foolish. Immunity is not required. Control is refusal. At this level feels violent. It feels irrational to turn down what others would kill for. Your instincts will argue. Your peers will question you. Your mind will invent reasons. This is the moment where strategy overrides emotion. The disciplined do not ask, do I want this? They ask, does this strengthen my primary engine of leverage? Most cannot tolerate this tension. They believe peace must precede restraint. They wait to feel calm before saying no. That calm never comes. Refusal must occur in discomfort. This is the price of authority. Character is built through action, not intention. You do not become disciplined and then act accordingly. You act with discipline while feeling undisciplined. Over time, the feeling follows the behavior. This is how traits are forged. Repetition reshapes instinct. Every refusal reinforces identity. Each time you deny distraction, you become someone who cannot be easily diverted. Temptation loses its novelty. What once felt urgent becomes irrelevant. This is not suppression. It is adaptation. Those who fail here do not fail loudly. They succeed themselves into weakness. Revenue grows, complexity multiplies, focus dissolves. What began as expansion ends as fragmentation. They remain wealthy on paper and powerless in reality. The strongest leaders understand this paradox. Growth increases risk more than stagnation. Without restraint, success accelerates collapse. Power must be defended at every level, especially when it appears secure. The lesson is simple and unforgiving. You will never lack desire. You will never run out of temptation. What determines your rank is whether you can say no when it matters most. The man who can refuse is the man who decides the future. Rule 4. Better is leverage, and it is ruthless because it is boring. The impatient believe growth comes from invention. The powerful know it comes from refinement. Better is leverage because it extracts more from what already exists. And it is ruthless because it denies the ego its favorite reward, novelty. There is nothing glamorous about improvement. It does not announce itself. It does not feel like progress in the moment. It demands repetition, precision, and an intolerance for mediocrity that few are willing to sustain. This is why it works. Most abandon the field long before mastery has a chance to compound. Better means revisiting the same mechanisms again and again. The same offer, the same process, the same conversation each time, stripping away friction, ambiguity, and waste. This is not creativity. It is discipline applied without mercy. Those who confuse boredom with stagnation never experience dominance. The market rewards excellence disproportionately. The difference between acceptable and exceptional is not incremental. It is exponential. A marginal improvement in clarity can double conversion. A small increase in speed can crush competitors. A slightly better system can outperform entire teams running on enthusiasm alone. Yet improvement is resisted because it exposes responsibility. When you stop chasing new ideas, you can no longer blame the absence of results on missing opportunities. The mirror turns toward execution. Weakness becomes visible. Pride retreats or collapses. Most failures occur not because people lack knowledge, but because they refuse to apply what they already know. They understand follow-up should be faster, communication clearer, standards higher. They delay these actions because they are dull, uncomfortable, and unforgiving. The cost of delay is hidden but lethal. Better also requires patience with compounding. Improvements stack quietly. The early gains feel insignificant. Only later do they become irreversible. Those who quit early conclude nothing was happening. They mistake silence for absence. Refinement is a long war fought in private. It is won through standards, not inspiration. Through checklists, not breakthroughs, through consistency, not intensity. This is the work most refuse because it offers no immediate validation. But when leverage emerges, it appears sudden and effortless. Outsiders call it luck. Insiders know it was built through years of unremarkable discipline. Power rarely looks impressive while it is being assembled. If you want dominance, abandon the craving for excitement. Choose a system that works and make it better beyond recognition. Improve it until resistance fades. In a world addicted to novelty, boredom is an advantage. Better is not a suggestion. It is the dividing line between those who participate and those who control the game. The power of the offer, one action, increased leverage, value bent to your will. Nothing reveals leverage more brutally than an offer. Not effort, not branding, not passion. The offer exposes truth immediately. It answers a single unforgiving question. How much value does the market assign to one action you take? Most people sell weakly because they think selling is persuasion. It is not. Selling is architecture. An offer is a structure that concentrates value until refusal feels irrational. When the structure is weak, no amount of effort saves it. When the structure is strong, effort becomes almost irrelevant. Observe this carefully. The action remains the same: one product, one transaction, one moment of exchange. What changes is leverage. As leverage increases, value bends. The same object that was ignored moments ago becomes desirable, then urgent, then scarce. This is not manipulation, it is design. The amateur asks, how do I sell more? The strategist asks, how did offer gains power through layers? Proof replaces promises. Access replaces information. Certainty replaces risk. Speed replaces delay. Alignment replaces confusion. Each layer removes friction. Each removal increases leverage. The buyer does not become generous. He becomes logical. This is where most fail. They attempt to scale volume before strengthening leverage. They shout louder instead of sharpening the blade. They push traffic into weak structures and then blame the market when nothing converts. This is self-inflicted poverty. A powerful offer does not beg. It frames. It positions the decision so clearly that hesitation feels irresponsible. The buyer is not convinced. He is cornered by clarity. Notice the cruelty of this truth. You can work the same amount, market the same product, and produce radically different outcomes solely by improving the offer. This means effort was never the constraint. Design was. Those who understand this stop chasing tactics. They stop asking how to get more attention. They focus on making attention count. One visitor becomes 10 customers. One conversation becomes 10 referrals. One action multiplies. Scarcity is not deception when it is real. Guarantees are not weakness when the system works. Bonuses are not gimmicks when they reinforce the core value. The offer is not a trick. It is the honest expression of leverage. The powerful do not sell harder. They sell smarter. They invest disproportionate energy into the front-end decision point because they understand a simple law. Leverage applied early dominates leverage applied late. Fix the offer and everything downstream improves automatically. This is why empires are built quietly at first. While others chase reach, the strategist sharpens conversion. While competitors multiply effort, he multiplies yield. In the end, the offer is a mirror. It reflects how well you understand value, risk, and human decision-making. Strong offers expose control. One action increased leverage, value bent. This is not magic. This is power properly arranged. Two phases of a life. Scattered then powerful. Nearly every rise follows the same arc. There is a first phase defined by dispersion, noise, and self-deception. Then there is a second phase marked by compression, clarity, and inevitability. The difference between poverty and power is not talent. It is the transition between these two states. In the first phase, a man is scattered. He mistakes activity for progress and variety for intelligence. He owns many projects, many ideas, many identities. Each one demands attention. None receive enough. His calendar is full, his mind exhausted, and his results negligible. Yet his ego is satisfied. He sounds important. He feels dynamic. He is busy and broke. This phase flatters vanity. It allows a man to say he is working on many things rather than admitting he has finished nothing. Failures are excused as experiments. Stagnation is reframed as exploration. He believes the problem is opportunity selection, not execution. He is wrong. Then comes a moment of clarity. Often born from fatigue or humiliation, he notices an uncomfortable pattern. The thing producing the most results receives the least attention. The path forward is obvious and terrifying. To advance, he must destroy the image he has built of himself. He must close doors, end projects, disappoint people, shrink his world to expand his power. This is the crossing. The second phase begins with consolidation. One priority, one engine, one direction. Energy stops leaking. Decisions accelerate. Learning compounds. The same hours suddenly produce different outcomes. What once required effort now requires standards. Momentum replaces motivation. From the outside, this phase appears like a sudden breakthrough. Observers call it luck or genius. They do not see the years of fragmentation that preceded it, nor the discipline required to abandon it. They see only the result, not the severing. In the second phase, restraint becomes natural. Temptation is filtered automatically. Opportunities are judged not by excitement but by alignment. The man no longer asks how much something could make. He asks what it would cost in focus. This single question preserves wealth more effectively than intelligence ever could. The irony is brutal. The first phase feels productive and leads nowhere. The second feels restrictive and leads everywhere. Most never make the transition because it requires ego death. They would rather remain potential than risk being precise. Power is not built by adding more. It is built by removing until only what matters remains. Those who understand this live two lives in one lifetime. The first is noisy, scattered, and poor. The second is quiet, narrow, and rich. The tragedy is not that most fail. It is that most never leave the first phase. The final command of Machiavelli. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Power is never granted to the distracted. It is claimed by those who choose a single objective and refuse to betray it. Everything else is commentary. Do not ask the world to reward you for effort. It will not. Do not ask it to honor intention. It does not care. The world responds only to force applied intelligently over time. Those who understand this rule early rise quietly. Those who resist it spend their lives negotiating with reality and losing. Your task is not to find the perfect opportunity. That search is endless and cowardly. Your task is to choose one arena where leverage can compound and make leaving psychologically expensive. Once chosen, you do not negotiate with boredom, doubt, or temptation. You advance until resistance collapses, or you do not expand prematurely. Expansion is a privilege earned after dominance, not a shortcut to it. Growth before control is decay in disguise. Consolidate first, harden the core. Make the system so efficient that even your mistakes produce momentum. You will be tempted to explain yourself. Resist this urge. Explanations are offered by those seeking approval. Authority requires none. Your results will speak with a clarity no argument can rival. Understand this cruelty as well. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no system, no revelation will replace the discipline you avoid. Knowledge is abundant. Execution is rare. That rarity is the opportunity. When progress feels slow, remember this is the tax of inevitability. Compounding is silent at first. It offers no reassurance. It demands faith expressed through action. Those who wait for certainty never move. Those who move create certainty behind them. You will feel misunderstood. This is a sign you are ahead of the crowd. You will feel isolated. This is the price of clarity. Power concentrates. It does not democratize. So here is the command. Stripped of comfort and illusion, choose one thing. Align everything to it. Say no without apology. Improve relentlessly. Endure longer than others are willing to. Do this and success will appear effortless to those who did not watch the years of refusal that made it so. Disobey it and no amount of intelligence, hustle, or hope will spare you. History is not kind to the scattered. The market is not patient with the unfocused. Power belongs to those who decide and do not look back.